All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of Great Millstone who rule very well, very beautifully. Double salutations unto the Akim out here pushing this gospel in truth and in sincerity to the best of their ability, given to them by Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the elect scattered abroad. May the election of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, fall upon all your houses. This is Brother Quanawath come back at you, Lord will, with the edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Lord willing. It is edifying, Lord willing. It is straight to the point. And as you see right here, I got, the elder from New York, right? Amon Gabar, right? His page pulled up right here at the bottom. It says GMS Awakening 144. And then you see it's got his name in the Paleo Ancient Hebrew, right? Which is, again, Amon Gabar, and this is his video that he did, a day or two ago, right? It says this video is only for the true Israelite believers that want to get out, and by that, right, he ultimately means, right, that ultimately want to get out of captivity, because as we read in Baruch 3 and 8, right, we are yet this day in our captivity. Matter of fact, let's go there. Right, we'll start with that, and we'll just build through the spirit. But I do want to come back, right, and play that video. We'll start right here. This is Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity." So we're still under the hands, right, of our enemies, right? We're under the hands of ultimately our punishers, man, right? Because Esau, Edom, right, just as all the other, nations, right, at one point were, right, set up to be, basically that whooping stick, right? Because we went off, we went against, Yahweh Shem Shah. We broke the law, statutes, commandments, and so again, right, the Lord ultimately put us, right, under our enemies, and this is the last enemy, right, that we are to be put under. But see, this is also the worst one, and we know that he hath forwarded the affliction. But, again, the point being, right, we're put in, under the captivity of our enemies, man, and this is the worst case scenario, right? The air is nothing but, pollution, right? The food, the water, nothing but polluted. The earth is polluted just in general. And that's because of who's in charge, right? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. The physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, man, right? And again, he's made it, right, to where life, you're not living, right? We're ultimately surviving, which is bullshit. He has the scriptures, right? The words of Yahweh Shem Shai being the most produced and most bought book in his own kingdom, and yet he don't apply them, which is why everything's so fucked up, man, But nonetheless, let me get back to this. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse," right? "And to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power," right? So we're in the worst case scenario, man, right? Under the worst of the worst, And if you're ultimately, because it doesn't matter what position or, how much money you got, where you live at in this world. If you are an Israelite, if you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, or even, right, you might look like the heathen nations, right, the nations that you've been scattered in, right, because Israel has been scattered all across the four corners of the earth, right, pursuant to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 64, 28, verse 64, all the way down to 68. We've been scattered all throughout the nations, man. So you have Israelites that look like the heathen nations, the nations that they've been scattered in, but yet through the lineage of their father, right, are Israelites, and they still get treated like shit out there, man. Because we're just different, right? Scriptures talk about the portion of Jacob is not like them. We're completely different than the rest of these heathens, man. On every aspect, and these heathens, they don't like that, They don't like it, therefore they treat us like shit. So it doesn't matter, whether you got money, right? Doesn't matter, you know, if you live in, you know, a nice neighborhood, you know, you got a lucrative business. It don't fucking matter. You're treated like shit. You're on the fucking bottom. You know, so for you to want to stay here, you know, and to establish some type of, you know, whatever you're trying to establish here, right? Your end all be all, you're a fucking fool, man. Right? Because we're in captivity, right? And as we read in Isaiah, the 51st chapter, and I think it's verse 14, it says, the captive exile, right, hasteneth that he may be loose, right? Wanting to get out of captivity. That's the spirit that you should be in, right? Wanting to get out of this place, man. Not being for Esau, Edom's turn, you know, but wanting to, you know, ultimately see this world being ran the way that the Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai ultimately created it to be ran, right? And not under the most vilest person upon the face of the earth, which is, we know, is Esau, Edom. You know, look at how he's running it, man. It's just bullshit. You know, it says, the captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose, and that he should not die in the pit, nor his bread should fail. So we don't want to be in this scenario. And that's really the right spirit to be in, right? For you Israelites, this is the spirit to be in, right? To want to get out of here, man. You know, and you can see, right, when you talk to, you know, Jake, man, Jake is just fed up, right, with being in this position, man. You know, but there's nothing that we can do, right? We need, you know, our Redeemer, which is Yahweh Shai, you know, which is, he's on his way, you know. But nonetheless, right, it still sucks being in here, you know. But you have some Israelites, right, even those that know that they're Israelites, that are ultimately in the spirit of staying here, man. You know, and I'm going to go ahead and jump to this video. We'll go ahead and play it, you know, but you got these fucking retarded ass niggas, right? That's what I'm going to call them, bro. They're niggas, bro. Nate from the IUIC, ISUPK, Johanna from, you know, ISUPK. You have, you know, Alazar, even Hakah and Hassad from, you know, Alazar, formerly the head of Sakari, right? And then you have what? You have Hakah and Hassad, formerly with Sakari, but now, right, they have their own Camp Genesis, right? These niggas are all about staying here, you know? These niggas are all about establishing something here, right? Not looking at history, you know? Tulsa, Oklahoma, we had our own shit, you know? We had our own shit, and look what they did. You know, because, hey, this is not our rest, man, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. You know, Salakia for the long intro. I just wanted to get those scriptures, man.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ, bless Bishop Nathaniel. Hey, March 2025, we're going to have a Land Blitz fundraiser. So what I need you all to do is hit the QR code, whatever that thing is right there, fill it out on all our social media platforms, because we blitzing. We need this land. We got to get this fundraiser done, Israel. I'm trusting you. Get it done. We're at the Land Fund Blitz in ATL. Keep on playing with us. We're going to do something else fantastic. Shalom, Most High in Christ, bless Israel. Deacon Isaac here. Brothers and sisters, we have some great news for you today. Guess what? We got the land. All praises to you, brothers and sisters, who have remained diligent in your offerings and your alms. The Most High blessed us with a beautiful opportunity to own our own, for our own, and for us, where we can host our feast days and so forth. All praises to the Most High. Booster Club, everybody that donated, y'all stayed in the spirit, and the Most High made it come true.
Yeah, I can't play no more, man. You know, but nonetheless, you know, first and foremost, right, go and subscribe to the elders page, GMS Awakening 144, and be edified. But it was a beautiful video, man, through the spirit, man. You know, but I just, you know, through the spirit wanted to, you know, ultimately give my 2 cents on it, man. Because this right here, this that's not the right spirit to be in. Ultimately, they're in the spirit of mirth, man. You know, wanting to party and, you know, have their own shit and, you know, establish, you know, something. That's not the right spirit to be in, man. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 4. It says the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, man. Right? Those who are ultimately fed up with this shit, man. You know, those who are wise, right, are ultimately going to be in the correct spirit. And that's the spirit of wanting to get out of here, right? Understanding that this is the lowest class of rulership ever to, you know, be established, you know? And that, Lord, will we be of the elect? Hey, well, guess what? We're going to be the highest class, right? Under Yahweh, the highest standard, right, of perfection, of rulership to ever be established, and that will ever be established, man. Because we know that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua's rulership, right, is ultimately going to be an everlasting rulership, man. Right? Everlasting. You know, but these niggas want to sit here and stay here, right? They want to sit here and party it up, as you've seen, right? It was all about fucking party, man. It's all about entertainment, right? That's not the right spirit to be in, right? As it says right here, it says, but the heart of fools, which you go back to that word heart, right? In the Hebrew, it goes back to lab, which means your mind, right? So it says, but the mind, right, of fools is in the house of mirth, man. Come on, man. They're not in the right spirit, man, at all. Right? The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loose, wanting to get the fuck up out of here. We are in captivity. Man, these niggas, they acting like they're not in captivity. They're acting like they're not under the curses. They're acting like, you know what I mean, that we're, you know, scripture said that we should go to our enemies and want of all things. Who the fuck did they get that land from? Who did they buy that land from? It had to be an Edomite. Because they're not just going out there. Because why would you need money at that point, man? Why don't you just go and claim the land? Right? If we're not in captivity, why don't you just go and claim that land? And say, this is our land. Why'd you need a fundraiser? No, you had to buy it from who? An Edomite, from Esau. So we're still under captivity, man. And he can take that land back at any moment. You know, at any moment he could take that land back. He could do the exact same thing he did in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Bomb the shit out that land. While you in it, while you live in there, man. These niggas are not in the right fucking spirit at all. And they're pushing that shit. And that's not the right spirit to be in, man. You cannot be following these guys. IUIC they're false prophets. They're not in the right spirit at all. They're not in the right spirit at all. IUIC from the leadership on down. They're fucking bugged out, man. You know, they trying to establish some type of shit here, man. And the Lord didn't call for us to be in that spirit, right? This is what is that? 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Right? So we're not going to be, you know, attached to this world and the things of this world, because again, right, we read that in 2 Peter 3 and verse 10 on down, right? That this place is ultimately going to be destroyed, right? You read it in Amos 9 and 8, right? Woe be unto that sinful kingdom, right? We know that that's America, man. America, aka Babylon, right? The virgin daughter of Babylon, which is America, right? Verse 16 says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Right? It says, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. So that's what it's about, man. Right? Doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, so that we can receive, you know, everlasting life, man. So that we can ultimately, you know, be perfected, right? Changed. You know? We don't want to be in this world forever and receive the same judgment as our enemies, right? To be destroyed, to be, you know, receiving that, you know, that nuclear fire. That's what Esau, that, you know, all the heathen that are here in America, right, are going to receive, right? As well as 2/3, you know, of you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, even you Israelite foreigners that might be here, man. You know? When that time hits, man, it's just pure destruction. And if you ultimately are siding with Esau and you ultimately want to, you know, establish, you know, your legacy and your life here, it will so be it, man. You're going to be destroyed right along with this fucking place, man. You know? Because fuck this world, man. Why would you want to try to build in something that's ultimately, being brought down, right, through the spirit and power, Yahweh Hashem El Shai? This economy, socially and economically, is being destroyed. Socially and financially being destroyed. Right? The dollar is losing value. People are crashing out. This place is on its way out, man. And they ultimately trying to push that shit. Hey, well, guess what? We know that the blind leading the blind, right? They both shall fall into a ditch. You follow IUIC, and you're done for anyways, man. But let me end out with this. I don't want this to be too long, man. I just ultimately wanted to speak on this. This is Micah 2:10. It says, arise ye and depart. So spiritually depart from this place, man. Right? Don't be too attached to anything that's here. Yes, it's not wicked to have a nice house, a nice car, you know what I mean? Have nice, things, None of that is wicked, bro. When you ultimately make that your end all be all, and you're not serving Yahweh Hashem El Shai, hey, you're done for, man. Right? The Lord is finna get rid of you. So it says, rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. It's not our place, our end all be all, man. But if you make it that, then it will be. Right? It says, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword of destruction. This place is polluted, man. Right? So spiritually depart from this place, man, and turn to Yahweh Hashem El Shai and repent. Right? Fuck this place, man. Right? The spirit to be in is in the spirit of wanting to get out of here, not wanting to stay here and see this place prosper. But that, Lord wills, edifying, Lord, straight to the point. I'm going to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, double honor to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, the elders of the great millstone. Till next time, I say shalom.